Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. And welcome to the first in a series of tribute reviews for Chuck Norris movies. Yes, the Chuckster, the Norris. The world thinks we lost him a few days ago. You never lose the Chuck. So, in memoriam, in tribute, I will now unleash upon you a series of videos for some of my favourite of his movies and your favourites too. But I'm going to start off with one of the lesser ones, and we're going to kind of build up, if you know what I mean, to the greats, of which there are plenty, of course. But we're going to start off with 1988's The Hero and the Terror. Yeah, I know, it's a bit of an odd choice. A lot of people love this movie, a lot don't. Critics, are always on the fence about it because it's Chuck Norris, isn't it? It's a chop-socky movie, but oh no, this one hasn't got so much chop-socky. It's Norris trying to act, to emote, trying to give inner dimensions, feelings, vulnerability. And I think he does it pretty well. Look, we all love Chuck Norris. We all know he's not the world's greatest actor, but he certainly isn't the non-presence that many critics always decry. He's great, we love him. He is a screen presence, he's a screen god. And in this movie, from 1988, directed by, what's this guy's name? William Tannen. Yes, not very well known at all. William Tannen, for Cannon Films, of course. And this is a film which Chuck Norris himself said, I wanted to branch out, I wanted to show more dimensionality to my characters. I don't just come out and kick ass all the time, roundhouse and the usual punch-ups and all that. I wanted to show a vulnerability and a caring, sharing dimension to my characterization. And he plays Detective Danny O'Brien. Danny O'Brien, a very lovely Irish name. And of course, Chuck Norris is of Irish and Cherokee descent. Yeah, he loves to brag about this, and it's true, he is. So it's a great combination. Danny O'Brien is haunted, LA cop, LA detective. He's haunted by the fact that he took down the Terror, a serial killer. And this guy, played by Jack O'Halloran, Non from Superman and Superman 2. He's in King Kong, 1976 version. He's also in March or Die with Terence Hill and Gene Hackman. Yes, let's get the names right. And he's the hulking bad guy in this, known as the Terror. He breaks women's necks. He takes them to his lair and fashions their bodies in some kind of weird mosaic sort of thing. And our boy, Danny O'Brien, takes him down. And we see it the film starts off in a bit of a flashback. Chuck Norris is actually having a nightmare flashback, lying there in bed and with his pecs on show. The phone ringing beside him, which he's ignoring because he's having this horrible nightmare about taking down the Terror. And him and his partner, Dwight, played by Jeffrey Kramer. Jeffrey Kramer, folks. Deputy Hendricks from Jaws 1 and 2. Yes, he's there. Obviously, he moved to a different location. He moved from Amity to LA, but still encountered terrifying opposing forces. And they're pursuing said killer. And they've gone to the old boardwalk. There's the fun fairs and the arcades are there on the old boardwalk. It's all sealed up. But they go down below, the surf's coming up, and our boy gets attacked by the Terror, who we've seen carrying, obviously, a woman's body, lumbering through the surf, to his lair. And a little battle ensues. Cheers you all, by the way. Cheers. If you've got a drink, grab it. You'll need it. We're going to go through this in some depth, but you knew that already. Cheers, y'all. little battle ensues, and the terror gets the upper hand and actually has our boy in the water, and he's throttling him. He even puts his hand into Chuck Norris's face, and he's like, he's ripping his face, and you're like, that's Chuck Norris, you can't do that. Even though you're a Kryptonian supervillain, you can't do that to Chuck. And but Chuck manages to hit him with a rock or whatever and take him down, and then tries to climb the ladder to safety. And this guy comes up after him, but a swift kick to his face, and he falls down. The terror falls down the ladder, and in a great shot, smacks his teeth on one of the rungs. Goosh! Hits the deck, and Dwight, Jeffrey Kramer, turns up with lots of yellow-clad police officers, LA coppers. Every time you see Dwight in an action scene in this movie, he's surrounded or accompanied by LA Rozzers wearing yellow raincoats, or sou'westers, whatever you want to call them. And why yellow? It's never raining. It's never raining in this movie, and yet the cops always wear these waterproof yellow overcoats, raincoats. Huh? And they've got like these sort of like, the condoms on top of their hats and all that kind of stuff. Why? What in Jaws was the big trigger colour? Yellow. Ask Spielberg about it. Yellow was a sign of the shark. So yellow, I don't know if this is true or not, but it seems uncanny that it can't be true. Every time we see Jeffrey Kramer from Jaws and Jaws 2, the cops around him are wearing yellow. A danger signal that the shark is near or the terror is near. I don't know, that's my assumption, but you can take that with a pinch of salt if you want, or a shovelful. Anyway, they turn up and you took him down. Danny, you took him down. You took down the terror. You're a hero. So he gets dubbed hero. He is the hero of LA. He took down this guy that has killed apparently 22 women by breaking their necks and then carrying their bodies off to his lair. And so he gets caught. His teeth are probably mashed in a bit, like, I guess put in a maximum security penitentiary somewhere in LA, and learns pottery and sculpture. We cut forward to a few years, but obviously Danny Boy is having nightmares because he's like, I'm not a hero, I didn't do this. Because this is Chuck stretching out now, branching out his abilities to show a vulnerable, scared side. I didn't take him down, it was just luck. I kicked him and he fell down the ladder, and you guys all arrived, he was knocked out and you got him. It wasn't down to me. He doesn't tell everyone this, but we know he's thinking this. He's not the hero that everyone else thinks he is. Although he still knows a fair bit of martial arts though. Although he keeps it, hidden away until the moment arises. And that first opening scene, it's a curious scene because it starts off where Chuck doesn't have the beard, he just has a moustache. And by the way, I had to illustrate that. He didn't have a beard, he has a moustache. Like you guys didn't know what those terms meant. And they turn up at this sort of disused pier, and they start investigating. And you hear Dwight, Jeffrey Kramer's voice going, Danny, in this sort of weird echoplex, sort of, manipulated sound effect. And like, when you first watch the movie, you kind of like, hang on, did I hear that right? Because you haven't seen that Chuck Norris is actually having a nightmare in bed. It just starts off like this, you're like, why is he speaking so damn funny? Anyway, it is a dream, it's a memory of what happened. And the phone's ringing beside him and he wakes up, and it's his Mrs. Mrs. played by, oh God, where is it now? Where have I got her name? Bryn Thayer. Yeah, that rolls off the tongue. Bryn Thayer, who's a lot of TV shows and that. And she plays Kay. He's not married yet, but she's pregnant with his child. And he's the doting, gonna be father. and looking after her, something chronic, but he's still got his fears, and she is the psychiatrist that got him over the trauma of capturing and battling with the terror. So they've got to know each other, and you're my favourite patient, and my biggest success story. But he's not a success story, he's still suffering from nightmares. But she's phoning him and he's like, Milan, oh yeah, are you hungry, are you? Right, I'll meet up with you soon. Oh, yes, I know, you're eating for two. Baby on the way. So we then see a really indulgent sequence of Chuck Norris sadly he's got a pair of budgie smugglers on. It's not a good image for anybody, no matter how well built you are. Puts a pair of khakis on or jogging trousers on, jogging pants, goes to the kitchen of his beachfront apartment and burns the toast, because he's having these reflective moments. He keeps seeing the face of the terror looming at him, and there he is, twitching pecs and his triceps and other muscles. Now, you guys are seeing me now in a jacket and this, but if you cast your minds back, regular viewers, you go back a few years, I would often sit on these videos topless. Yeah, I know. I actually can't believe I did this even back in the day, but I was a lot slimmer, I was a lot more ripped, and you guys know I've been huge in my time, and so once you've been to that level of you've got muscle definition, you can twitch the bits, you can do this, even grabbing a cup of tea or even a pint of Guinness, you can flex, and once you've got that kind of physique, you will do it, and he's doing it, and when you watch it now you kind of go, oh, posy bastard, but look, if you've got it, you may as well do it, flaunt it, what the hell. Cheers again. Cheers to all you peck wagglers out there. But he puts a toast in a toaster, and because he's having these flashbacks and he's troubled, the toast burns, it pops up incinerated, and that will come back in a joke very soon afterwards. Anyway, he's still haunted by the terror. The terror's in a prison, and the terror's learning how to escape from prison, basically. He's got pottery, and in a curious scene, his attendants, his prison guards come to him and like, come on now, Simon, for that is his name, Simon Moon. And you hear that name a hell of a lot throughout this movie. What, Simon Moon has escaped? Simon Moon's done this? Is that Simon Moon? But this the same modus operandi as the killer, Simon Moon. Simon Moon, someone say Simon Moon? Play the Simon Moon drinking game. Oh, you'll be pissed within the first 15 minutes. For me, Simon Moon always reminds me of Frasier, and Daphne Moon, Jane Leeves, the exquisitely gorgeous Jane Leeves. Her brother, who arrives in Frasier's apartment, is Simon Moon, played by Anthony LaPaglia. Sounds Italian, but he's actually Australian, and he has one of the best fake British accents ever. It's totally convincing, and he's great. So every time I hear that name, Simon Moon, I think of him. So I start chuckling already. Chuckstering. So he's burnt the toast, and we meet Simon Moon again. Come on now, Simon, you've done your pottery, now it's back to your room, old Si. Come on. And what he's done, he's collected all metal filings. And he takes them back to his room, and he soaps them all up and uses dental floss to make a saw blade. And then, even when his psychiatrist is arriving for a regular meeting with him, he saws through the bars on his window, and he's out. So the doctor, the shrink, played by Billy Drago, the great Billy Drago, who's never trust Billy Drago. He's always plays a killer or a lunatic or someone. Even in this, he's a good guy, but you can't trust him at all. He's like Dr. Sam Loomis in Halloween. When we do speak to him later, he's not the most sort of, I'm not putting any stock in what you say, Doctor, but he turns up and like the bars are all turned and twisted, and he's got out, and what he's done, he's taken a laundry van, and I'm not sure if the fact is he can't drive or what, I don't know, but he pushes the laundry van down the hill, down the main drive towards the main gates, gets in it and starts steering it, and the checkpoint Charlie is going like, hey, you can't do that, get out, whoa, dives out the way, and the laundry van speeds through the air, the metal gates, and straight away goes off the cliff, tumbles down the cliffside, boosh, 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 crash, plunge into the water. No explosion, I should add. No explosion. A rarity in this kind of movie. It doesn't go into a big flambe of flames. But then, he's dead. But our boy, Danny's off to San Pedro for a dockside drug bust. And him and his partner, Jeffrey Kramer, Deputy Hendricks, and the great Steve James. Steve James! Action movie demigod of the 80s, To Live and Die in LA, The Exterminator with Robert Ginty. Oh god, Delta Force alongside our boy Chuck, and so many, American Ninja, and loads and loads of movies. Great, sadly now deceased. Well, along with the great Chuck as well. But they're going to a drug bust anyway, and they're going to be undercover. These guys are going to be waiting in the car whilst our fella's going to be posing as someone who flips burgers and eggs, on the griddle and all that. But they hear on the radio going there like, there's been an escape attempt by Simon Moon, the Terror. He's escaped from so-and-so prison, but he's believed to have died when his escape vehicle went over the cliff. And like, straight away, like, our boy in the backseat's like, oh god, no. And all the fun's gone out of the banter in the vehicle. Well, hey, look, you're going to be okay, aren't you? Danny, you all right? The Terror is back. He can't die. All this kind of shit. Like, and then you get this an early action sequence. You've had the tussle with the Terror, which didn't really amount to much, and then you get this, which doesn't amount to much either. I'll be honest. But you've got he's there, he's flipping burgers and eggs, and there's a drug deal going to take place. Obviously these guys know in advance they're the suspects, but we're going to pose as these guys, are working here. But one of the drug dealers comes back and complains about the eggs. These eggs are terrible. Who the hell have you got working there? Oh, this is my cousin Carlos, meaning Chuck Norris. And of course, Chuck Norris's real name is Carlos. His birth name is Carlos. Carlos Ray, or Ray Carlos. I've forgotten now. All this excitement I've forgotten myself. But Carlos anyway. And he goes like, mate, you're shit at doing these. It's like, you wait till you see the toast. Because you burnt the toast in the earlier scene. Now I like stuff like this. It's a little throwaway thing, but it adds a little bit more. So anyway, the drug deal takes place. Guns come out, a chase down the pier, another pier. Chuck's wearing like double denim, and he's got like a denim shirt on, but a long sleeve, the sleeves rolled up, but a long sleeve white undershirt underneath, and it's a good look, and he can carry it off. And unlike say Steven Seagal, who can't run at all with his fucking big girly arms, big pansy ass run that he does like a fucking fairy. Oh boy, Chuck can run, even with tight jeans on and a big fucking heavy buckled belt and like 2 shirts on top. He can still run, and he's powerhousing down after them. And you get a bit of a fight here, and he takes out Victor. Victor's played by Branscombe Richmond. Is that the right name? Branscombe Richmond, did I write this down? I did not. Who's in tons and tons of TV in the 70s and the 80s into the 90s. He's in so many movies. He's gone against Seagal, he's gone against Van Damme, he's gone against Batman, he's gone against Schwarzenegger in Commando. He's a guy that in the guy's going to take over the island. He's got a warehouse in LA full of all his tanks and all his weapons. They're all tooling up for a big invasion and all that, like, and he's the guy that Arnie takes out in the map room with a poof and a poof, and then picks him up and like hides him in a closet or whatever. Well, that's him. And you get a bit of banter between Chuck and Branscombe, Victor, who's trying to climb over a mesh fence, and it ends in tears, doesn't it? And Branscombe, Victor being kicked into the water after trading a lot of insults. But we see a bit of the martial arts skills. This is not a film of martial arts, it should be said, because after this sequence you ain't going to get anything for a long time. And it's one of those where these sort of films, they love to show the skills of the martial artist actor doing it, your hero. But let's be totally honest, if you're going to roundhouse someone, you're going to punch someone in the face several times in quick succession with lightning fast sort of reflexes, they're going to be on the deck. And if the bad guy keeps getting up and throwing more taunts at you, you're not doing the job right. You should put the guy down straight away, and that to be game over. But anyway, that is not the case, and it extends with more insults. Then he gets kicked into the drink, and then that's it. So our boy, we now know he's capable, but he's vulnerable. He's still afraid. He's still tortured by memories of the terror. Remember the terror that went over the cliff? Yeah, his escape a bit. But anyway, suddenly women start getting their necks snapped again. Whoa, what? In the Wiltern Theatre, right? It's sort of like on the seafront, the Wiltern Theatre. And this is where the mayor, played by Ron O'Neill from Red Dawn, from An Eye for an Eye with Chuck Norris, from many movies, The Final Countdown with Kirk Douglas and Martin Sheen, which I've reviewed, of course. A very familiar face. The mayor has injected, I think, 14 million into regenerating this particular area and this Wiltern Theatre. And there's a big premiere taking place there, and the starlet who's going to be the mainstay of the show, this big production, she gets killed. So we get, think the X-Files and Tombs, who used like air ducts and tiny little spaces to crawl around in and get in and get his victims. Well, the Terror seems able to do this. The Terror, Jack O'Halloran. He's a big guy, and he's wearing a dirty, sweaty sweatshirt. That's why they called it, obviously, and a pair of like baggy jogging pants. And he's got a bit of a beard going on and scruffy hair. He looks like a down and out. Yes, he's a big bloke, and he pulls lots of bestial, sort of ferocious grimaces. He doesn't speak at all. He just snarls and roars, or just stands there looking really weird, and walks with like some kind of like he's just got off a horse, a very fat horse, bandy-legged, and he's struggling like he's got the worst hemorrhoids going. He may be intimidating to some people, but I think the film doesn't really work. Where's the music gone? What's happened to the music? It's just gone very quiet. Start it again. He's not the most intimidating as a villain in this because he's not given anything to work with. No dialogue. We learn from Dr. Highwater, Billy Drago, because obviously Chuck goes to see him because they work out that, Simon Moon's modus operandi has been used on his victims, so but you learn nothing about the character. Well, who is he? What did he do? And we think he doesn't molest his victims, he doesn't rape them, he does strip them naked and arranges their bodies, but just snaps the next women, and but there's no sexual molestation, no, not at all. And why does he do it then? Well, I think, says Billy Drago, that, you know, it's just maybe he was abused as a child, possibly by his own mother, and he's now getting revenge on women because of that. Now, it's important to note that this film is based on a book from a lot earlier, well, 1982 I think it is, by Michael Blodgett, who co-wrote the script for the movie based on his own book. And in that book, Simon Moon is a sleazy, slimy, horrible lawyer. He's a lawyer. Is there any other type of lawyer other than sleazy, slimy, and horrible? I'm not too sure about that. And he rapes and mutilates and does all sorts to his female victims. In one sequence in the book, he attacks a woman who has a glass eye, and in the assault, the glass eye comes out, and he then, I don't know if he does or not, but he thinks about he's going to rape her in the empty eye socket. That's the book this is based on. And our hero, the Chuck Norris character, is a sex addict. He's shagging his missus all the time. He was a model. He's shagging her all the time. But every woman he sees, a waitress, a postmistress, just a woman on the streets, he fantasizes about shagging them as well. He's totally and utterly fixated on, you know, ooh la la. So you can see why the film, Cannon had done sleazy films before. They had. But I think Chuck Norris is the guy that's gone like, look, I'm not going to do anything like that. I won't be involved in a film like that. The film Silent Rage bothered him. We all love Silent Rage. It's a great action horror movie. It's a wonderful film, and it's going to be part of this celebration of Chuck Norris. But Chuck, it's a well-made film, but he didn't like the fact that it's an unkillable serial killer who's doing horrible things to people. He did not like that at all. Anyway, that's Silent Rage. But this, you can see that after many other movies in between, where he's killing entire armies of goons, you know, I want to try and come back from this, and there's no way on earth I want sexual violence. But they're going like, well, Simon Moon, he attacks women, he breaks their necks, he arranges them in mosaic body tableaus, and they're all naked. You know, well, we've got to keep something in to keep the kids happy, you know. So you can see a lot of the real nasty stuff got trimmed out of it. This film, I think, tries to hit the sweet spot between the terrific Charles Bronson thriller from the 80s, 10 to Midnight. The title means nothing to the actual film itself, but it's a great serial killer and cop going renegade movie. And it is sexual violence, but it's a great movie. And Cobra, so 10 to Midnight and Stallone's Cobra. And Cobra is massively cut down from the version we should have seen. And I've reviewed Cobra, and we all love Cobra, obviously. But even though the bad guy in that's got a huge gang, a cult behind him, but he's a nightmare figure himself. So I think this movie, Hero and the Terror, definitely tries to sit between 10 to Midnight and Cobra. And it fits the bill quite well as a stepping stone between the other two movies. So anyway, so the doctor says to him, look, maybe he was abused by his mother. I don't know. I spent years trying to get through to him, like Sam Lewis with Michael Myers. And but he's an animal. You've got to treat him like an animal. And all animals, no matter how dangerous they are, they need a lair. And he says something like, a lair where he can, play with his victims, which kind of gives you, that's a bit of a creepy thought, isn't it? But anyway, he just arranges them in sort of, around his place. His place? Where's his place? So he survived the crash, and his old place was underneath the boardwalk. Well, an old warehouse, the back of an amusement arcade at the end of the pier on the boardwalk. He's lost that now, but he's come up by the Wiltern Theatre. So, spoilers ahead, folks. He's in the Wiltern Theatre, and he kills that starlet. He kills other people who work there, and what have you. And they're finding bodies. Well, there's a whole conundrum as to this body, a naked woman is found with her neck snapped, her spine snapped. Shades of the Creeper, Rondo Hatton himself, and other movies, backbreakers and all sorts of like bizarre serial killers with a terrible penchant for smashing people's bones, not like ripping jugulars out or anything like that, or taking heads off or slitting them up, but no, they break the body. You don't find out why, of course, but he secreted himself within this newly refurbed Wiltern Theatre, and we get to see the theatre very, very much throughout the movie, and we get to meet the proprietor and various other odds and sods of the place, and some people will die, of course, but they'll find the bodies. Is Simon Moon back? Because that's how he killed his victims. The spine is snapped, the neck is broken, and they find this starlet, and of course our boy's like, he's back, he's definitely back. He can't be, he went over the cliff, he's got to be dead, we can't come back from that. No, you don't understand, he's back. But anyway, the mayor wants to see you because this has now gone across the press, and the entire county needs to know, the city's in flames and uproar. Simon Moon is back. So, and we get like a bit of a Dirty Harry sort of sequence where he's got to go and meet the mayor, Ron O'Neill, and all his aides, and the chief of police is there and all that, like, where the hell have you been, O'Brien? He's like, well, I've got a pregnant missus to look after as well, and I've been doing my job, I've been investigating, what the hell have you been doing? So he plays Dirty Harry. Once again, I don't have any Chuck Norris canvases or posters, and I'm stunned I don't have any at all, but I don't, so we'll make do with these, the backdrop, as well as the Chuckster stuff over here. But so look, you've got to meet the press. The press want to speak to you because you're the guy that took down Simon Moon. You're the hero. He's the terror. You took him down before. You've got to tell him that the terror is not back out there again. Why am I going to tell him that? He is back out there. I believe he's back out there. Why do you not want to believe that? Well, no, we can't have a panic on our hands. Not on the 4th of July, and we can't do this. Just, Brian, just toe the party line with it. Just do what he says. Don't swear at the mayor, because I think he says something like, get the fuck out of it or whatever. Like, he does swear at the mayor, and the mayor comes out with quite a good line, really. He says, listen, when the terror was at its peak, he killed 22 women, but we had 12 more from copycats. We don't want to put the idea out there that he's back because other people are going to start doing this as well. All this sort of stuff. Like, so he goes, reluctantly says, okay, but I want one thing in return. Okay, you got it. And it's not much of an ask, really. I want someone on guard at the Wiltern Theatre 24/7. Okay, is that all? Yeah, okay, you got it. But you got to go and meet the press. So the mayor goes out there and meets the press, and he says, like, well, they don't want to speak to him. We want to speak to Detective Danny O'Brien because he's the guy, he's the man. He took him down before. We want to hear from him. And he's been seen at the site of all the new murder victims. I should have said the blonde one, the big starlet. They find their body, and he's talking to us. If it's Simon Moon, why didn't he take her body? I mean, she's beautiful. Why didn't he take her? I don't know, because maybe she isn't right. She's not the right one. You don't find out at all what Simon Moon's agenda is. He's just a bogeyman. That's all he is. And even Michael Myers has a lot more depth and backstory than Simon Moon's been afforded. He gets nothing at all. He's just a hulking brute. In the course of an action thriller, horror sort of tinged with movie, you don't really need much more. He's just the bad guy. He's big, he's badass, he's intimidating, he's frightening. Well, there you go. He looks like a sweaty Dowling out, but yeah, he could have been more threatening. He really could have been more threatening. We'll talk about that more later on. But anyway, so they say to the mayor, look, we don't hear from you. You know nothing. Where's the detective? Where's Danny? Where's the hero? Oh, well, it's good you asked that because I've been waiting for him myself. I haven't had a chance to speak to him as yet. Massive Barney backstage. But, he's here now. I'll let him speak because I want to hear this myself. So Chuck Norris gets up there and he's, okay, don't forget, he's sporting the beard now and all. It's the Chuck we love. And he says to him like, is this Simon Moon? Is the terror back? And he just goes, no. What? Are you sure? Yeah. And then walks off. 2 words, no and yeah. And the mayor's like, you meant to have done more than that. You've done. But he's done what he said. I'll agree with you. I'll say that it's not Simon Moon. But in the meantime, of course, he's got his pregnant girlfriend, Kay, played by, I forgot her name again. And I can't find it again. Bryn Thayer. And it's her birthday as well, like, and he's got her to move into his apartment, so he's carrying all boxes and crates up to his apartment, his beachfront abode. And she's thinking, like, if this is too soon, because he's clearly going through this ordeal of Simon Moon, the terror is back in my life again, like. So she's like, well, this is too soon for you. I can move out again and all that, but there's a baby on the way, and she's heavily pregnant. And in fact, she will give birth in this movie. Yeah, she will. And but it's her birthday, and they're clearly in love and all that. And Chuck gets a chance to, like, really be, well, romantic and smile. He smiles. He speaks softly. He speaks softly. Well, there's a fat dog fart. There's a bear shit in the woods. Chuck Norris never shouts, does he? He doesn't need to shout. His eyes shout enough. And it's always understated, very subtly spoken. And but it's great. Their relationship is pretty good, and he's a doting sort of guy. There's an earlier moment where they go shopping, and she's heavily pregnant, and because she's got compulsions and all, like, she sees a red dress in the window, and it's broad daylight, and they're walking down the sidewalk arm in arm, and she goes, "Oh, I've got to go and get that." Okay, and he hits a newspaper vending machine to get the paper out because it won't come out initially. So, it's Chuck Norris. I want a paper. Give me the fucking paper, And you hear sirens and you see a street thief is legging it down, the sidewalk behind him, and he clocks it and you see a speeding police cruiser come, whoa, roaring around the corner, skidding around. This guy's legging it. And Chuck, just reading the paper, just goes boom, and the most casual clothesline you've ever seen. In reality, that would have taken the guy's head off. It would have snapped his neck quicker than the terror breaking people's spines. But it's just like, woof, and he's like, oh, lying on the deck. You want to write to me in silence. And the cops all turn up, and he goes like, you can take over now. And like, his missus comes out and just goes like, yeah, a normal day with my boy. And these things are great. They're fun. You just wish you could act like that in reality and just brazenly take down a bad guy and walk off arm in arm with your missus and go for the bevy and just not even think about it. But yeah, she's pregnant. It's her birthday. They come out for a big celebratory meal. Big cake around, all the candles are on it and all that, like. And 3 of the staff sing happy birthday, and it's all like a big hey, as Americans tend to do. You don't really get that in the UK. You don't get people doing that in restaurants, and I mean, you used to. A cake would come over, and people around us quietly go like, birthday, or congratulations, engagements or whatever, good news, like that. But in Americans just like, wow, everyone's like, whoa, giving it loads and celebrating. Oh, wow, that's amazing. Wow. Oh, look at this. But she's not having none of it. She's like, the candles there. And he goes, Chuck's going, like, you've got to blow the candles out and make a wish. And you can see Chuck's really, he's invested in this. He's really trying to be, I'm a caring, sharing hero. I love my bride to be. They're not married, don't forget, they're not married yet. And so she's like, well, oh, what's wrong? Can you get and take the cake back? Well, what's wrong with the cake? And he's still got a big grin on his face, like big gingery grin. And she's like, well, she goes, I'm 36. I'm pregnant, I'm fat, I'm depressed, you know, I had a great job and all this, and now I'm losing everything, blah. And she goes on and on and on, and he's like, Jesus Christ, I've just got you a cake, you're carrying my child, I'm with you, come on hon, let's enjoy ourselves, go and make a wish. So then she goes like, I wish I wasn't 36, I wish I wasn't fat, I wish I wasn't pregnant. Oh cheers, I wish it wasn't. He goes like, just one wish will do, you know. I said one wish, but she's going through it all. But you get a lot. This movie will have a lot in the first 2/3 of this relationship, and when they drive out of there, she starts going into labour. And well, I'm going ahead of ourselves here because she goes into labour and he will drive up. I don't know the car he's driving. You know me in cars. Unless it's a V8 Interceptor, I don't know vehicles at all. And it's a nice convertible sports car thing, like very sleek, very low to the ground. And twice in this movie, he drives up to the hospital entrance and gets a spec. Well, I don't know a single hospital in the world, and I've been to several, quite a few in fact. And you can't get near the entrance to a hospital. You can't. It takes you hours to find a spec parking in the allotted parking areas. You can't drive up to the front, but he does. But then again, of course, it's Chuck Norris, isn't it? There you go. And in the car, he's like, get your breathing right. And she's going like, and they get there, and he takes it in. And anyway, they're at the checkout desk. They're at the front desk of the hospital. You know, my wife's pregnant. She's going into labour. Can you get the doctor? Blah blah blah. Where's everybody? And he passes out. And you're like, oh no! Did they have to do this? Did they have to have a Chuck Norris passing out moment? But oh look, it's in the nature of good fun, and to bring the persona of the Norris down several notches and make him more amenable, you know, to everybody. He's a more family friendly sort of guy. Well, he's going to be in the family very soon. And he passes out and falls off camera. You're like, oh, you're joking me. In the meantime, they've been to the Wiltern Theatre, and his mate, Steve James plays, what's his name in this? Robinson, who's his buddy. You've seen our boy, after his nightmare at the start, he goes to the gym and he puts extra plates on and a little skimpy blue vest on, and but just to do one rep, and he calls in like Steve James to spot him and all that. And another guy who starred alongside Steve James in The Exterminator, who is Tony Di Benedetto as Dobney. Now, Tony Di Benedetto played a sleazy bastard in The Exterminator. Robert Ginty goes on the vengeance vendetta trip, taking out all the scumbags, the punks, the hoodlums, the gangsters in New York after his mate Steve James gets taken out very badly by a gang of street punks. And who could take out Steve James? No one could. And but this guy, Tony Di Benedetto, for his name again, Tony Di Benedetto plays a guy that has a chicken ranch where they have young kids being abused, and but Robert Ginty goes in there posing as someone who's got like some kids to sell, and fucking takes him out in probably the Exterminator's nastiest moments. He knees him in the balls and knees him in the face, and then he changes into a mattress and then covers him in paraffin or kerosene, and then sets fire to him when he's alive. And you hear the horrible screaming and shrieking. He deserves it, the bastard. And it's a great sequence. But it's this guy, but he's playing a good guy here. Anyway, Steve James he's got to work 24/7 at the theatre, because our boy's convinced that Simon Moon is somewhere in that theatre. So his missus goes off and has a conversation with the theatre manager about babies. And he says I've got a photo of my baby here. Do you want to see it? And she goes, oh yes, please. Oh, I'm glad you asked. She didn't ask. You enforced it on her. She didn't ask at all. Do you want to see it? Oh yeah, go on. Glad you asked. Look, she's like an angel, not like me at all. And if she has to go for the best, she's pregnant, you know. And off she goes to the toilet and all this. This is before the hospital bit, so gone back now in movie timeline. And but our boy gets, you know, victims. He thinks the killer's moving around through the air shafts like Alien and coming out in the ladies' toilets, which is exactly what he is doing. So he panics and goes and gets it from the ladies. She goes, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll go at home. But then she goes into labour in the car. But anyway, Steve James is there and he's going to stand guard that night. And he's in all his jogging stuff as well, like, and Steve James is a fucking huge guy, like, and his little legs, his body just goes out and out and out like that. His shoulders are out there. And he's great. I've always loved Steve James. And he says to the theatre manager, like, you know, look, keep some lights on. I'm going to be in the theatre part. There's a great big theatre itself with all the seats, and the lights are in there. And he's got a big ghetto blaster. And the theatre manager goes to him like, so what kind of music do you dig? He goes, Mozart. And he begins to play Mozart. Puts a cassette in, puts it there. He's got a, you know, his revolver's in his shoulder holster. He takes it off and puts it at the back of the seat, and then he begins to jog around the auditorium. And I love this scene. It's not filmed particularly brilliantly. Let's be honest. It's a very flatly filmed 80s, you know, DTV sort of movie. That's the level we're talking at here. It's not very vivid and in your face. There's no directorial flourishes. There's no fabulous cinematography. But I like what they were trying to do with this sequence, the central aisle, and we've got our boy jogging round and round. He's throwing punches as he's running and all that. Steve James, for fuck's sake. And it's intercut with Kay giving birth, and you know, and it's a nice sequence, but you know where it's going because obviously the killer is there. And I wish this scene was better. I'll be honest here. Steve James going against big hulking Jack O'Halloran in a theatre in an eerie sequence. This had all the hallmarks of being a standout scene, and yet it isn't. It falls very, very flat. But it starts off brilliantly with him running around and all that. He's playing his music, and he's like, he's down by the stage, you know, the pit, the orchestra pit, and he's like, he's all sweating. And he looks up the central aisle towards the you know, the doorway, and framed in the doorway is the killer, Simon Moon, who is stood there. And it's creepy, but I wish they did more with it. They don't really explain it. It's just an odd character trait. He's backlit, and he's kind of like a naughty child or a confused child. He's like got a finger in his mouth and just staring down at, you know, Steve James, who now realizes, shit, Danny Boy was right. Is there a track which is just silent on this? Because we've lost the music again. I'll just leave it for the time. It's bound to come on again. And she's like, oh, hey, I'm sorry if I disturbed you. You know, I didn't mean to cause any offence. I saw the place was open and I thought I could get a workout. But he's walking slowly up towards the killer. And you know that his gun is there, and his radio as well, his big walkie, one of those great big 80s walkies, like, I'm about 10 feet tall, I'm on the phone. It's a huge thing, like, that's sitting there as well. And like, this is Steve James. You think, oh, we're going to get a fight here. This is going to really work. But as you get a bit closer and the killer starts walking down towards him. Now, I'm not saying Jack Halloran is bigger than Steve James was. I don't think he was. They're not 7 foot. They're 6.5 feet sort of thing. But because it's it's on a gradient, Jack O'Halloran, Simon Moon, is towering above our boy. And they get close, and there was a lengthy bit of silence there. Odd. And he reaches for his gun, but Simon Moon grabs his hand and then basically picks up Steve James and like snaps his neck, and he's in the seat, and that's it, he's done. That's what that was. But if you're into action movies, Steve James, you know he can fucking kick ass. Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you have him doing some stuff and then get taken down? Have it a proper battle royale before, obviously, the big one, which you know you're going to get. But they don't do it. Ah. Oh. So anyway, the child's been born and he's made up. Oh, she looks like you, doesn't she? It's a little girl. Got a big ginger beard. You know, she looks like you, doesn't she? What's the name? Angela. So, anyway, the nurse says to him, this is the Chuck Norris, obviously. The nurse says to him, oh, you can go home now. Little personal note here. When my son was born 25 years ago today. It's his 25th birthday today. As I'm doing this video right now, he's 25 today. Now, when he was born, I was there. I was present for the entire thing. And it was a fantastic. I stayed up top. I didn't go down below. I'd been there before. I didn't want to go there again, although I did with my daughter. So, but I stayed up top, and it was a great, euphoric scenario. And the missus went through it. She breezed through it pretty well. When my daughter was born, I wasn't there. Because we'd had to get my son, who'd be like 7 years old at the time, like, was it 7 years old? Yeah, something like that anyway. We had to get him to my mum and dad's big Kilt Papa, big Kilt Mama's house, get him looked after. And my mate Lee Van Keith, he looks like the actor Lee Van Cleef, but I called him Lee Van Keith because his name actually is Keith. Brought us back here, and we knew that there wasn't a rush. Mrs. Kilt-Man was in hospital, but said, oh, it's going to take hours, this. There's no rush back, they all said to us. So we come back here, had a cup of tea, just stood over there, had a cup of tea, took our time, and then he took us back to the hospital. I thought I'm going to be there all night. It's going to be it's going to be a nightmare, this. It's going to go on forever. And when I got there, everything was peaceful and quiet. I went into the room where the missus was, and she was awake, and she went, I went, what? She nodded over there. I went, what? She went, And then a cot was my daughter. So I'd missed the entire birthing situation of my daughter. My daughter, to this day, says, you were in a pub when I was born. And I genuinely wasn't. I'm in the pub most of the time, but I wasn't for that particular incident. I was not in the pub. I was here having a cup of tea. Anyway, the point is this. Whereas, I got into the bed next to my missus because Lucy, my daughter, was like nice and fast asleep and all that, and I was knackered. She was knackered, so I got into bed with her. And the nurses came in and said, "Excuse me, sir, you can't stay here. Can you go home?" And I thought, hang on a minute, that's my rules are rules. Go home. Arrow Park Hospital is many miles from the Kilt Mansion, and this was now the early hours of the morning, and I walked back home. It took a while, but I was in a euphoric state. Anyway, it's nice that Chuck Norris gets kicked out as well. He's like, oh, this is great. And the nurse has got like, hey, you can go home now. We don't need you. So I'm not tired at all. No, go home. Go home now. And when he goes out, he gets the call that Steve James has been killed. So no rest for him. That's it now. Shit, I fucking told you bastards he was here, And they're all going like, Danny, yeah, you were right. So a massive search goes on through the depths and the bowels of this Wiltern Theatre. And this is a great scene. All the lights are on, but they've all got the big flashlights and they're all walking around. And again, because Dwight, Jeffrey Kramer from Jaws, is there, yellow, the warning sign of danger. All the cops are wearing yellow sou'westers and ponchos. It's not raining and they're indoors. It doesn't rain at all in this movie. Why are the cops all wearing it? Whenever Dwight is there, Jeffrey Kramer, the cops are wearing yellow. I have to think that it's to do with Jaws. There's any way I can reconcile it. So, anyway, they start prowling around and they go through all the toilets and I think Chuck Norris is like, you hold the torch there to Dwight, and like he opens like a grate in the ladies. There's a lot of scenes of blokes in the ladies' toilets in this movie. Just thought about that. And then Chuck gets through, and and he has a lot of scenes in this film where he's going through a little narrow airway, and he's on his tippy toes, and he's all hunched over, and he's crawling through. Well, not crawling. He's hunching his way through it. If you've ever been through one of these sort of ductworks, and I have, or smaller tunnels as well, you should be on your belly doing it, but I've done it where you're in that position, and oh my god, your neck, your glutes, your spine, your back, everything, you're crippled. And you start thinking that you go so much way down a little passageway like this, and you realise, shit, where's the end of this? Oh my god, and I can't reposition to get down because I'm hunched over, and you're stuck there, and you're like, oh, the panic that sets in is unreal. How much further have I got before I can open to a bigger, wider space, or do I try and turn around and go back again? And then you realise, to your horror, you can't turn around. Oh, I've done this. Anyway, there's lots of scenes of Chuck doing this horrible hunched over thing, like crunched up. But he could just stand up and the whole thing would fall apart. It's Chuck Norris, for God's sake. And he comes down to a little passageway and he finds there's all brickwork there. He's gone into an older part of the theatre. Don't forget, this has been, the mayor's money has renovated this entire place. So it's like they've all built extra bits onto it, newer bits. But this is an old part. It's a brick wall there. I don't know. And he finds another way. And this is a curious bit, this. It's a nice scene. The set design, it's a great little location. He finds another way into what is a big glass dome, which is obviously above the theatre down below. So all the lights are up there on the inside of it, like, and there's all scaffolding around it. And when he gets to it, the other way, he's gone down all these little weird passageways, but when he gets to this big place and he can come out to the big open, all the yellow daubed coppers are already there. And it's like, you'd be like, hang on, how did you get here? I've gone through all this, you guys were already here. How did you get here? But there's a wall on the other side, and it looks like a building site, like someone's building houses, and there's all scaffolding there. He goes, I'm going to take a look at all this. Well, sooner you than me. It's like narrow sort of plank work. Anyway, he finds nothing there, and I think they get called away or whatever it is. They don't find the killer, or they've scared Simon Moon off. It's coming back to me now. Simon Moon's heard them all rummaging about, and his lair is there. So he kind of fucks off from there, like, and you see him descend one of these ladders, attached to the side of the outside of the building from the roof, comes down from that, like, and then he ends up in an underground car park. And you see this very attractive lady. See, now I'm a child of the 80s. Well, I was born in 69, so I lived through the 70s, but I came of age in the 80s, and I love and revere the 80s. The music, the fashions, everything, the movies, you know it, I talk about it all the time. And the women looked astonishing. I love the American style shoulder pads and those dresses, those shimmery dresses. The fact that they tended to wear the big stilettos and, a bit of lycra, stockings of some description. I love it all. And the big hair, I love it. And this girl is sensational. And she comes out of her car and an underground car park. He's there. He's watching her from behind a pillar. And she gets the elevator. She gets the idea somebody is there, pressing the button, and she gets in the elevator, and hey, nothing happened to her. Oh, okay. We cut back to Chuck and his boys, and then we cut back to her in the morning. Her hair's different, got a different costume as she's going to work. Comes out the elevator, she's reading the paper, gets into her car, sits there, and Simon Moon sits up behind her and just goes like that straight away. And then that's it. What the hell was the point of that sequence? He gets away while they're searching, for his lair. They don't find his lair in that sequence, but he hears them and bugs out, and then goes and kills some random woman. I get that, but there's no build-up of suspense, and the fact that she gets away with it the night before. He's waited in her car. What? And then does he take her body away? Oh, he puts her face on the horn. Don't make up your own jokes. So it's like, and then obviously he just goes. It's a really random sequence which doesn't really make any sense at all. And then goes back home again. In the meantime, our boy still, haunted by the terror. I've got a new kid now, and oh my god, I've got commitments. I've got this. I've lost my best friend, and I've got this guy fucking from Jaws, but everyone around him's got yellow fucking sou'westers on. What's going on here? And I still burning the toast all the time. I can't make a fucking breakfast, And he gets given maps, original maps, and all the the template for the Wiltern Theatre, and he gets one. There's a great big map of all the building structure and all the rooms and all that, and yet I can't think of the word for it. The template. I can't think of the word for these maps, and you can quite clearly see, right? The tunnel. There's the big bit you went and searched through, but I've got to find this room. And the words of Billy Drago came back to him. He's an animal. Animals always have a lair. He's got to have a lair somewhere. And he gets one of those little spyglass things, like a shot glass upside down. And he's like, we watching it on our TV screens can see. Oh, that's where the room is, the hidden room. And he's like, Chuck Norris is like, that's it. I was right. I got you. Yeah. Right, they're going back. And he goes back on his own. He says to Dwight, I'm heading back to the theatre. And Dwight's going like, yeah, because this guy, our boy Chuck, had a reputation in his character in this movie for going in without backup. We're told this, basically. We're told, you never go in with backup. You just rush in, don't you? You don't really see it, apart from the start of the movie. And he's got Dwight with him, but he's still, no, wait for backup. No, I'm going in. And then the next time we see it is now. So, but he says, like, look, I'm going back there. So, back up when you can. I'll be in there. And he goes to another big search, crouching over through the ductwork all over again. Gets to that brick wall, which is on the other side. Remember I said about it's a great set with all the scaffolding around it and plank work and railings and this huge glass dome, which is obviously the theatre's below that. But you've got this huge sort of housing tenement facade on the other side, which is like, what the hell's that about? There's all like windows, but there's no glass in them. It's like a building site which hasn't been, completed. But the lair is in there, and he was on the other side of that brick wall in the passageway. So he gets on his back and he kicks the wall through, and he finds, this is the lair, and of course there's all bodies in there, and it's. I think the only bit of nudity you get in the movie is these bodies. I think you see 3 bodies there, and they're all women, like, and they're topless. I think it's artfully shot though, so I don't think you see much at all. And as one of them fans, there's fan things going boom, 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 boom as well. Adding some chiaroscuro, I shouldn't say, not Scirocco, chiaroscuro lighting effect going on, like, and big bad Simon Moon comes out, whoa, poosh, starts throwing our boy around over tables and stuff like that, and it's all fucking all sorts. Because one of this room is from I think, if I remember rightly, it's not really explained too well. It's from the original theatre. It's the old Vaudeville theatre, and they've built the rest of it on top of that. Like, so it's a hidden complex of rooms in the old theatre, I think. So you've got vibes of Phantom of the Opera as well, which is nice. And that is definitely there. They could have played a bit more on that, I think, but they don't. But I think if you know your movies and you get what's going on, there's a Phantom of the Opera sort of vibe there. But they really could have sold that a bit better. giving Simon Moon a bit more of a character. You know nothing about him, nothing at all, and you're gonna learn nothing in the next few minutes either. But so the big fight takes place, and here's the big fight we've all been waiting for. And like, it's sad that this guy can break necks, break spines, but all he does with Chuck Norris is pick him up and throw him around, fucking over tables, and Chuck's like fucking putting the fists in, doing some kicks, a couple of roundhouses go in there, but he gets hurt, and he manages to, they fall through the wall to that big set where they got the big glass dome and all the scaffolding. They fall through onto that bit, and Chuck gets up, he's limping now, and like the killer's like the terror is just on a deck like that, but comes to again, like, you know, of course it's basically Michael Myers, but with a big scruffy beard, and our boy gets along the scaffolding, and the killer starts coming after him, and he manages to smash some of the wooden balustrade, uses that boof, boof, bang, bang, and he gets. They get to a fucking another ladder again, like at the start of the movie. They get up to another ladder, and this time, like, our boy puts the boot on him, and like, the terror goes tumbling down the stairs, and he gets out onto the roof. Think a bit of like a Blade Runner with Roy Batty and obviously Deckard on the rooftop. You've got like steam vents, you've got pockets of 80s style mist circling around the set, the rooftop set. And the cops have arrived in the meantime, and there's helicopters in the air, and there's all spotlights and all that kind of shit, like, and lots of yellow sou'westers. Because why? Because Dwight, Jeffrey Kramer, Deputy Hendricks, is in attendance as well. And anyway, as our boy's limping around, Simon Moon comes crashing out of a fucking huge window, which he didn't even know was there. Comes flying out, throws him around again, and all this. And then he literally picks up Chuck Norris and throws him through a skylight, but he manages to hang on, and the spotlight of a helicopter like blinds the killer, the terror, and he's like, whatever, you know, like fucking Hunchback of Notre Dame now. Maybe that's what they're intending to do, because he is some kind of, you know, deformed brute-ish on a top of a building. And Chuck Norris manages to crawl back up again and roundhouse him and fucking do this, and then manages to pick him up like and throw him through the other part of the skylight, and he goes hits various things on the way down, like pigeons and fucking Wile E. Coyote, and, you know, poof, hits the deck, douche, done him. It's actually quite a good stunt, to be honest, and you do see the body falling down, and then hit, and it does look like a body's hit the deck, you know. Not like a sack of spuds or a dummy. It looks pretty effective. And then of course, Dwight gets up there. Danny, are you alright? And Danny's got some blood down his face, like, yeah. And nods down there, like, and he goes, looks down, and you can see the body of the killer, the terror down there. And he just goes, Jesus. And they killed the terror, that's it. So next thing you know, our boy drives back to the hospital again, like, walks it, limps in there, he's hobbling, he's all cut up and bloody, and he gets in there, and he sees a priest, because don't forget, him and his missus to be aren't yet married, they've had a baby now, and he sees a priest coming out of an elevator or something like that, and he sees him think about it, like, excuse me, father, and next thing they arrive in the ward where Kay is. Yeah, I said I'd be back, and I found a priest, you know, because now we can, doesn't say none of this, but you know, now we can get married. It's all big grins, everyone's grinning, even the baby's grinning with a big ginger beard, you know, everyone's happy, the terror's dead, the hero's alive, and, you know, it's happy new family. And that's the hero and the terror. It's, it is good fun. As I say, this celebration of Chuck Norris movies will be going into the real big heavy hitters. This one from '88 after such a huge run of great hits, the Missing in Action movies, Lone Wolf McQuade, Missing in Action, Silent Rage, Code of Silence, Delta Force, Invasion USA. After all those, he was like, you could tell Chuck Norris was kind of like, look, I need to take a back seat now from all of this violence and fighting endlessly, and I want to tell more of a character, and I want to show more of my acting ability. And I think he does pretty well. I do. People can like, I've mentioned it myself many times, that his understated way of speaking, it's almost like mumbling. It's always said underneath the beard. Time's up. Yeah, what? You're dead. I'm what? Oh, dead. Okay, yeah. If you pay attention to the way people do speak in real life, and you watch movies zoom in on people's dialogue, and good actors emote, and they know their lines. They can intonate stuff and invoke certain feelings with a sentence. Lesser actors can't do that, but they know how to. Other actors can interact properly, can overspeak, and like it becomes realistic in that way. But it's realistic in a very cinematic way. The way that Chuck Norris speaks is the way that most people do actually speak. Now, I've been round the block a gazillion times, blocks all over the world, some of them quite hellish, and I've spoken to people of all walks of life and of all different cultures, different creeds, and most people tend to speak, if you actually engage them, unless they're a ribald and raucous sort of raconteur, which not many people are, to be honest. They may think they are, but they're not. They speak quite quietly. Terrible day at work, and this happened, that happened, and how are you? And they do speak quietly. I'm afraid that's what I've found. So Chuck Norris, in many ways, actually is a better depictor of how people have conversations than most actual, bona fide Academy-worthy, Oscar-winning actors genuinely are. So, there you go. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. I'm not a good example because I am loud, I am brash, I am quite raucous. When the gob opens, and it doesn't tend to stop, as you may have noticed. I'm the exact opposite of what I've just said about Chuck Norris. I wish I could be more like Chuck Norris. Well, in many ways. I wish my beard had a bit more browny red in it. It's all gone like wispy grey. Don't like it. But Just for Men, combing in. Instant Chuck Norris. What's behind Chuck Norris's beard? Another fist. This film is not great, but it's good fun. There's another sort of nightmare vision in it, and I like this stuff because it's sort of the initial takedown of the terror, which the hero Chuck Norris gets celebrated for, but he knows it wasn't really me. He fell down the ladder, knocked himself out. It wasn't me that did it, but he gets all the accolades for it. But he's terrified. This guy could have took me down. I couldn't beat him. I was trying to get away from him at the time, which is how it does start off. He has a vision. He goes down, he's investigating the old pier again, and of course there's a fun fair. There's a merry-go-round, and he gets mesmerised by the merry-go-round, and he imagines seeing Simon Templar, the Satan, then Simon Moon on one of the horses, breaking its neck, and he's just like in a reverie. And the attendant goes like, a woman, she goes, "Do you want to ride, sir?" He's like, "Do you want to ride, sir?" It's Chuck Norris. It's a fucking kid's merry-go-round. And he just goes like, no. Sorry? Yeah, it's like yes or no. I couldn't quite make it out. Your beard was in the way. But I like little moments like that. I think this film really should have been much, much darker. The terror, Jack O'Halloran, is an absolute non-entity. He walks like he's just shit his pants. He doesn't say a single word. He may snarl and growl, but he's got very, very limited screen time. You barely see him, and he doesn't do much at all. And he don't really. There's no sense of fear about him. When he's been smacked about a bit, like, and kicked, and he's unconscious, and then Michael Myers style, he will rise again, like, on the attack again. You're meant to be going, oh my god. And you got Chuck who's genuinely frightened and like on his last legs, literally. But we don't feel any of that because he's not a frightening presence, and he really should be. This is a film that needs, but the hero and the terror, isn't that a very sort of Japanese sort of title, like Lone Wolf and Cub, and I can't think of any other examples, but there's plenty of them. Manga, anime, you've got these obscure names, so and so and so and so. Hero and the Terror is a very sort of Japanese manga style title. But he's anything but terrifying. You know nothing about him. You got Billy Drago spat on some weird... Billy Drago. I do love the guy, Untouchables and so many other movies. Like, and he's a bizarre character. He plays bizarre characters because he is a bit of a bizarre character in real life. And with those sort of, you know, his eyes just like black, like chips of ebony have been like bashed into his eye sockets, boosh, boosh, out there. His little pointed, pinched sort of face, and a kind of a knowing, nasty, evil grin that he has as well. Like, and he's terrifying, and he's the fucking psychiatrist, you know, looking after Simon Moon. And in their discussion when he has with Danny, he's going like, well, you know, he's a dangerous animal. Animals have lairs. Find him in his lair. Well, it's like, listen, Doc, you know, can I ask you something? This is Chuck Norris again. Like, how do you get rid of the fear? What? Everybody has fear, Danny. Everyone has fear. You got to learn to live with it, you know. But what if you can't live with it? You ain't got a choice, have you? You know, just got to live with it, boy. And off he goes. That is not a doctorly psychiatrist sort of way of dealing with anything at all. It's just Billy Drago being a complete and utter twat. But I like that though. Anyway, the cinematography is flat and bland. The bit with Steve James framed in the doorway to the auditorium, and then you get Simon Moon is there as well, like that, hulking over, but like that. That is great, and the sort of the tense walk together that they do up that, you know, that angled aisle, that's pretty good. But the denouement to that sequence is so boring and bland and naff. Catches his hand going for the gun and then breaks his neck, and that's it. Done. Oh come on! You want to see what this guy can do? He's meant to be bloody terrifying, and he so isn't. And the way they wimp out about what he's doing with his women victims, he leaves the one from who's the starlet of the big theatre premiere. He kills her, but then leaves her body outside, which is breaking with his own tradition. So they say, like, well, why did he leave her behind? And they kind of work out, well, I think it's Chuck Norris that says, like, no, don't know, it's just not his type. She wasn't right. Then why did he kill her in the first place? It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not really a film where you're meant to be, you know, looking for profound meanings in things. It's just an avenue for Chuck Norris to do something slightly different. Don't forget, he fought serial killers before. Silent Rage and John Kirby and that. Oh my God! Wait till we get to Silent Rage, which will be in this review season. That is wonderful. That is a horror film. And he is one of the most terrifying bogeymen in movies, period. You know, he's up there with Michael Myers and doesn't wear a mask. It's just this guy's face, and he is genuinely fucking horrible and terrifying. And at the start of the film, in Silent Rage, you get, well, obviously I'll talk more about it when I talk about Silent Rage, but there's a moment where he's trying to call his doctor, I'm losing it, and you feel for him. So he has, as little and as small as the arc is, there is an arc. He's like trying to get help. I'm losing it. I'm like, I can't. You know, I need. And stuff just happens, and he's gone into complete psycho mode, and he can't die, of course. But whereas, you know, in this, the terror survives the first incident, then escapes and crashes, and he survives. How the hell he survived that? you know, because he's gone into the drink, he's gone into the fucking sea, and he's obviously swum to, well, the piers and the Wiltern Theatre, made his new home, and so he's quite indomitable, and yet it doesn't come across that way. You know, he's just, I don't think Jack Halloran can do it. As none in Superman 2, he is very frightening. He is. You've got Zod and you've got Sarah Douglas, but none is the idiot of the trio. But he's big and intimidating, and you know, he is frightening. You watch it now, as an adult, you watch it, he's still frightening. And you see him in March or Die, The Last Stand, he picks up a fucking big machine, and it's brilliant. You know, he's fighting the Arabs and all that, like, and they swarm all over him. He's a frightening character in that, but a likeable one. He's one of the good guys, so he can play very frightening. You think he'd be a shoo-in for a role like this, and yet I don't know what they've done with him. The costume is so naff. You know, a sweaty grey sweatshirt, jogging pants, and like, there's just nothing to him. And a beard and scruffy hair. He does not look intimidating anywhere near enough. You think of the same sort of time, not the same time, earlier than this, you had the great George Eastman. George Eastman. That's his Americanized name. Italian actor. Was in loads of Italian exploitation horror movies. Things like Absurd and Anthropophagus Beast. Yeah, big, not muscly at all, not the size and stature of Jack O'Halloran, but tall, beard, hair, yes, hair, he had hair as well, and but that face of his could be he's a good looking fella as well, which is bizarre, but when he played a bad guy, oh my God, a homicidal maniac in those two films, he is genuinely frightening. And this was a chance for, you know, Jack O'Halloran to have achieved something like that, and he doesn't come anywhere near. He's barely on screen. So you got William Tannen, the director. I had to check. Not a name you remember. You got him to blame for that, I think. But also the script. It leans way too much into Danny's story and Kay. Nothing wrong with that, but the balance should have been like. Here's the weird thing. Because of the whole setup with Danny and Kay, Danny Kaye, the famous entertainer who did Piers as well, you know, vaudeville at the end of Piers, Danny Kaye. Oh my God, the connections are ridiculous. Jaws and Danny Kaye, who'd have thought? Their relationship, it's set up so that you think at some point she's going to be in jeopardy. The killer, it'd be cliche, but the killer's going to go after her at some point. And maybe it's a good thing the film doesn't do that, because it's not playing to all the usual shtick of this kind of genre movie. But also, have they missed something there? Because if you've spent so much time building up, you know, this relationship between Danny Kaye, and there's a baby on the way. I think in the book, I can't remember now, I think in the book, he does kill a pregnant woman as well. So that's where they get this whole pregnancy thing. I could be wrong about that. I can't quite remember it, I'll be honest. But the skull fucking thing, yeah, that's in there. But you would expect that to be in a trope, a cliche, but it would give a bit more oomph to their relationship. The fact she's having doubts, not doubts about them two, but doubts about, you know, a typical pregnant woman's fears, or the baby, and life's going to change, and I'm fat, I'm ugly, and hormones at the wall, like, oh, responsibility now, and I'm eating for two, and all that kind of stuff. Like, you get all that, but you got a serial killer thrown in as well. Wouldn't you have thought he would have gone for her? So I think that's kind of strange. I also think it's very strange that I've only drunk that much in an hour and 25 minutes. Cheers, y'all. But anyway, I enjoy this film. Weaponry in it. He starts off with a very snub. This is Chuck Norris in the opening scene, the flashback scene to the capture of the terror. He has a snub nose there, Smith & Wesson Model 19. The rest of the movie, he has a Beretta 92F, which was the de rigueur weapon of the 80s. You know, obviously Martin Riggs, you know, brought it into vogue and all that, and everyone else was using it. I should mention the music. I've been playing music all the way through this, as you know, and the music is by, and I can't believe, David Michael Frank. Right now, regular viewers know that I will play the full score to the movie I'm talking about. If I've not got it, I will find it, and I've usually got a vast collection of movie scores. For this film, Hearing the Terror, I haven't got the score, and I can only find, literally online, 3 tracks from it, and you've heard them all, but the same composer, David Michael Frank, is that right? Yeah. At the same time as this, he was doing Steven Seagal movies, Above the Law, Hard to Kill, Nico, Out for Justice, and he did Showdown Little Tokyo as well. Now, the music, because I've put like some of the Steven Seagal ones on as well, because they sound identical. At this time, and I think you've got to thank sort of like maybe Michael Caine and Eric Clapton for Lethal Weapon, bringing sort of LA bluesy soft rock, you know, wah-wahing guitars and like saxophone playing, and it's sort of slow and easy, seedy nightclub sort of thing, smoke filled, you know. That sort of thing is what this guy did for this movie, Hearing the Terror, and for all of those Steven Seagal films. So the music sounds identical and it just blends together. I don't mind it. It's not my kind. Apart from movie scores that sound like this, I would never play this kind of stuff at all. But, you know, I love the 80s music. 80s synth, yeah, you know, love all that. But yeah, I kind of like it though. It kind of fits the sort of the lifestyle of 80s LA, you know. I think Chuck Norris was kind of pleased with this. Critics were not so pleased with it. And yet, as I think I may have said earlier, a lot of fans rate this movie quite highly. You get other people, everyone's got their own favourites, but in the run-up to doing this review, I was online and I thought, and there were people that were saying like, this is my favourite of all the Chuck Norris movies. And I'm going like, what? Really? Okay. Now, if you mean it, is it down to he's doing more than just, you know, kicking people in the face? Is he doing more? Because he's giving a bit more to the role, and for that I definitely applaud him. And I love Chuck Norris, you know, and you know, he hasn't even got to do this sort of level of emoting and acting for me to love him in a role anyway. Just go in and kick people's ass. I love that enough. But I see what he's doing, and I like the fact he is trying to branch out. I remember after the 70s, you know, okay, Force of One and oh god, Good Guys Wear Black and Game of Death and all that. So Way of the Dragon, Game of Death, and other stuff like Wrecking Crew. He's finding his feet, literally. He's finding them usually in someone else's mouth. And he let look. I'm not an actor. I'm a martial artist who got brought into acting, and I'm liking it, and I'm finding how to navigate this world of different personas and delivering lines, and he enjoyed it, so he wanted to branch out. I don't just want to do fights all the time. I can do that in my sleep. I want to push myself, and that's the ideology that Chuck Norris had. Every day should be another challenge, and never be afraid to rise to a challenge. And if you don't defeat it, you've made some inroads to defeating it. So try again, and you keep on trying until you do defeat it. It's all up here, and I love that. And I think he applied that to the whole acting malarkey as well. So people are going like, oh, shit actor, he was just, you know, he was a non-persona. He was just, you know, just there, he just kicked people in the face. That's all he ever did. No, there's a guy that you can watch the progression of all his character roles, how he's trying to put more in. It's not his fault he's pigeonholed into an action hero role. It's no surprise. It's no surprise. No shock. But it's not his fault. So he's using his box office clout with Menachem Globus and all that, and Canon. Look, I want to do a bit more. I don't want to do a bit less of that, a bit more of this. And they've gone, okay, because you're bankrolling us, so we'll listen to you. Otherwise, you might kick our ass. No. So I love the fact he's done this. And if you go back before this, the Delta Force, he's just one of an ensemble cast. Yes, it's a Chuck Norris movie. We got Lee Marvin in there, Steve James is in there, Robert Forster's in there. You got Martin Balsam, Shelley Winters, Bo Hopkins, Bo Svensson it is. You've got tons and tons of actors in there. It's a big ensemble cast, huge action blockbuster with lots of locations, and he's not in there. It's not specifically his film. He's the main guy, that's him sort of taking on a supporting character role amongst a huge ensemble cast, showing I want to branch out and do things different from just kicking people's faces in, and I will always applaud that. Anyway, Hero and the Terror. and you get in with the tash at the start as well, and then you get the beard, and you get the peck twitching, you get all this. I mean, I'll be honest, the beginning is not good for this film. It's not good. Even back then when the film first came out, I didn't see it at the flicks. I don't think it came out the flicks in this country. I think it came straight to video, and that's how I saw it. And straight away I was like, oh, it's Chuck Norris, but yeah. And then I thought, oh, what the hell have they done this? This opening scene's so bad, and because you got Dwight's voice is distorted, and you're thinking, is there something wrong with this videotape? What's going on with this? Because you're not shown that he's dreaming until later on, and then it's a dream. Right, it's a dream. Oh, it's actually not a dream. It's a flashback / dream. Huh? What? And then you get him, showing his physique off, which he clearly worked on a lot since the last movie, and he's looking actually the best he's ever looked, I think, in the start of this movie. Really ripped and toned, which is not his usual sort of look. And he's parading around, in his apartment, the sun streaming through the windows, puts his breakfast on, burns the toast. But you've got him trying to act. They've just gone to him look, you're now thinking back to the terror and the terror he put into you. So you're just the toast is burning, you're just lost in reverie. And just think and play it through in your mind. So, but the Chuck Norris, he's just going, for any of us, it's going to be play it through in your mind and let's see it in your eyes, and he's just like that. Bernie toast. What's he supposed to do? You just kept the camera on him. You get anyone, you get Daniel Day-Lewis, and you're meant to you've got to show pathos, you've got to show inner torment. Well, they have done this sort of thing on stage. They really learned how to do this, and the camera, knows. Well, they've always got directors who know how to light their face and highlight the eyes, and time it just right so you're getting the subtle expressionism. It doesn't have that. It's just one expression, and the beard dictates how that expression is going to be. Hairy or hairier. Oh, folks. Anyway, for Chuck, for all of you, all of us Chuck fans, the Norris will never die. It's as simple as that. Yeah, you can hear the rain is now absolutely persisting down. So all those cops in yellow fucking rain jackets and ponchos will probably be descending very soon. And you'll have Deputy Hendricks in the wrong movie again go, there's a shark out there, a real big one. No, it's the terror, it's the terror. It's Simon Moon. Right, anything else I can say about this? Anything else? Oh yeah, it's a film of something I despise. You can pick up the phone and go, yellow. Oh, yellow raincoats again. maybe that's another connection there. Yellow. I've never said that in my life. Picked up my phone and gone, yellow. Why in this film, the theatre manager does it several times, yellow. It's also a film where they say, tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow. We would say, I'll see you tomorrow, or see you on the morrow. But there's this, and this is in a lot of different movies, and I've heard in TV shows, yellow and tomorrow. They put an L in there, tomorrow. What? What the absolute fuck is that about? Tomorrow. Yellow. I'll see you tomorrow. Fucking hell. Anyway, the hero and the terror. Yeah, we loves it. We does. So what's next? What's in the next Chuck extravaganza? Even I don't know yet. But it's coming very soon though. I'm fat. I'm 36. 36? What am I? Oh, I'm more than double that. Oh no. No, I'm not. No. God, I can't even do the maths now. I'm 20 years older than that. That's it. And hell, I'm double that. Just aged myself. Something chronic there. Dear Lord. I've had too many kicks to the head. That's what's done it. Anyway, folks, I have been always shall be Kilt-Man, so please, in the meantime, as ever, Chuck adoring in between time, please keep it kilted, keep it Celtic. I'm going to see you all. Oh yeah, he wears a nice leather jacket as well. Not one of them big stupid clunky 80s ones. It's an aviator style brown leather jacket and it looks bloody good. He wears a different jacket which is sort of, I'm not sure if it's sort of padded denim with sort of like rubber padding on it, which is not so cool. But the leather jacket is pretty nifty. That's all right there. And I've got another jacket very similar to that one. This is the Pliskin Snake Plissken jacket, this one. Anyway, right, I'm out of here, folks. Take it easy.